In this video we will revisit the experiment of microwave transceiver on conjoined twin polarizers. This time the polarization axis of the transmitter is perpendicular to the receiver. It will show how much microwave polarization axis is rotated by the polarizers. The marking shows that the transmitter is aligned for horizontal polarization. The receiver shows zero intensity since it's aligned on vertical polarization. Here's the conjoined twin polarizers that will be used to rotate the polarization axis of the microwave. At orientation 0, the receiver stays at 0. At orientation 1, it increases. But the value depends on the position of the polarizer. We get the same thing at orientation 2. At orientation 3, the receiver gets back to 0. Let's see what's the maximum value we can get by adjusting the orientation of the polarizers. At orientation 1, we can get close to 70%. At orientation 2, it's close to 55%. Now we'll see what happens when the polarizers are aligned between 0 and 1 orientation, which we called the hard axis in previous video. The receiver only increases slightly. The same thing also happens when the polarizers are aligned between 2 and 3 orientation, which we called the easy axis in previous video. At orientation between 1 and 2, the receiver can show increased intensity, even close to 90% at a point. Let's analyze the results. The transmitter is oriented horizontally, while the receiver is oriented vertically. At orientation 0, the upstream polarizer which is facing the transmitter is oriented diagonally, while the downstream polarizer which is facing the receiver is oriented vertically. In this configuration, the receiver shows zero intensity. At orientation 1, the upstream polarizer is oriented vertically, while the downstream polarizer is oriented diagonally. In this configuration, the receiver shows some intensity. At orientation 2, the upstream polarizer is oriented diagonally, while the downstream polarizer is oriented horizontally. In this configuration, the receiver shows some intensity. At orientation 3, the upstream polarizer is oriented horizontally, while the downstream polarizer is oriented diagonally. In this configuration, the receiver shows zero intensity. Now let's summarize the result in a table. A pattern emerges here, which shows that the results are zero when the transmitter or receiver has the same orientation as the side of twin polarizer closest to them. It shows that the longitudinal propagation of electric field through the soldering tin doesn't completely eliminate the effects from sequence of the polarizers.